Hello, welcome to our third study in this Lent series. And this week we're going to be looking at the incubation of hope and Paul's letter to Rome, Romans chapter 15 verses 1 to 13, but really verse 13. And we'll look at this word, hope. It's an incredible word, but what does it mean to you? It probably means a lot more than it did a few weeks ago. We're seeing a renewed hope in so many new things, aren't we? The infection numbers are going down, the vaccinations are going up. We have this renewed hope. Churches are already creating a roadmap of hope out of lockdown. We have hope that we might be able to worship again, once again, together. We might have fellowship together. We might be able to see our families. We might be able to go out for a drink at a pub or book a meal at a restaurant or even have a proper holiday. Or you might want to book an appointment at a hairdresser. Some of us don't really have that problem. There is an incubation of hope. The question at this Lent time, though, is did hope ever go away? Were we actually putting our hope in the wrong things? And where should our hope be based? Now, let's be honest, this last 18 months has not been easy. It's been really hard. There has been grief and loss, pain and suffering, mental and physical. There has been spiritual exhaustion. Our church leaders are having to learn new skills and cope with a sense that in their ministry they feel inadequate. They haven't been able to fulfill their ministry fully. It has been like living through a storm. It has been dark and depressing. It's been relentless, going on and on and on. And rather than living in hope, it's very easy to live in fear and disillusionment and depression and to simply wonder, when is it going to be all over? The challenges of COVID have robbed so many of hope. This pandemic have led to a loss of income with people being on furlough. People have lost their jobs. There's an uncertainty of future. There are those who have lost loved ones. There has been the lost medical appointments and people just simply for weeks on end living in pain. And then on top of all that, there's that spiritual aloneness, for we miss being together. You can see why for many hope has diminished. But should it ever have diminished? I wonder whether the problem in fact is that our hope has been in the worldly things, the earthly things, instead of the godly things, the holy things. For the godly hope is expressed in this Easter journey as we travel to the cross and to the resurrection. In our reading of this study, Paul in his letter to the church at Rome wants to express what he understands hope is all about. And in this passage he begins with about God as being the God of hope, verse 13. This means he is both the origin and the object of hope, who inspires hope and imparts it to his children. And as children of God, we need to have that hope. But no matter what the circumstances, there is always hope in God, in his ways and in his promises. For the Christian, hope is not some wistful dreaming. It is faith and assurance that God, who he is, says he is, will always be faithful to us. He is the God in which we can trust, faithful to his promises. He is the God of hope. Being the God of hope is his true nature. Our hope comes from God because he is hope. That's an amazing assurance. But he's more than that. He is the God of joy as well. We are told in our passage, we are told he will fill you with joy. And the joy is from God. It's not the glee of momentary pleasure. It's a happiness that runs deep within every fibre of our being. It is the joy to know that we're a part of the bigger picture that motivates us into the action and the service and into the worship. It is an Easter joy of resurrection and hope. Not only that, now this is the point where I think Paul sounds a bit like a market trader. You know the ones you see like Del Boy on the market. I'm not offering you one thing, I'll offer you two. He's saying this. Paul's saying to the punters, he's saying, look, I can offer you hope. Not only that, I'm going to offer you joy. And not only that, I'm going to give you a one-time offer, 3-in-1. I'm going to offer you something else that's very special. I'm going to offer you peace, not any old peace, but perfect peace. And then for good measure, if you're willing to buy into this, I'm going to give you even more hope. And Paul takes them in this full circle back to hope. And he says, as you trust in him, that you may overflow with hope, this cycle of hope. The God of hope wants to give you hope. He does this by giving joy and peace, which leads to the overflowing of hope. And this comes from trusting him. Rather than having to focus on joy and peace, we're to put our effort into trusting him. The rest will follow as a result. And we don't do this in our own power either. This passage tells us very clearly, by the power of the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit of God is the power for everything for us in our Christian life and faith. The Holy Spirit empowers us, strengthens our faith, gives us this peace and gives us this joy and enables us to overflow in hope. There is a point where we do not simply have to accept the rain clouds of today. But if we refocus on God and allow his Spirit to saturate us, we can see hope in a very different light, especially on this journey through Lent into Easter. There's a lovely saying that life is not about waiting for the storm to pass, but learning to dance in the rain. As we travel through Lent, we have a very good reason to dance, not because of the worldly restrictions being lifted, but we dance towards Easter because we are reminded once again about God's deep, deep love for you and for me. That he is the God of Easter, hope, love and joy. It is then when we put our hope in the right thing, everything will fall into place. We have an opportunity to study a few questions now, and in these questions I want you to just explore, what does hope mean to you? Not only what does it mean to you, but what does it mean to have overflowing hope? And how might that be expressed in this Easter journey? Thank you for listening.